This video talks us through the diagram for a monopoly business. So to start with, we make a number of assumptions, which are essentially the opposite of the assumptions we made for a perfectly competitive firm. So firstly, there's only one firm in this industry, which is the monopolist. They produce a unique or a branded product. There are high barriers to entry and exit. Perhaps the most likely to are startup costs and existing brand loyalty, which make it difficult for new firms to join the market. And we assume that the monopolist is a price maker or price setter, which means that they have some control over the price that they can charge. To draw our diagram, we start with pound sign and output on the axes, and we can draw our cost curves as usual, the U-shaped AC curve and the tick-shaped MC curve. Because we've assumed that the industry and the monopolist are the same thing, we know that an industry's demand curve slopes downwards. There's an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. So the demand curve for the monopoly slopes downwards. Like this, we have D equals AR for average revenue. And the marginal revenue curve is also downward sloping, and it's twice as steep. So it starts at the same point, downward sloping, twice as steep. There's a mathematical proof you don't need to know, but it's true that it's always twice as steep compared to the demand equals average revenue curve. We assume the monopoly is a profit maximizer, which means it produces where MC equals MR, which is this point Q. At quantity Q, the price it charges is P, which we find from tracing up from Q until the dotted line meets the demand curve. The cost is where that dotted line from Q meets the AC curve, which is C, meaning the firm is making a supernormal profit this area here. It's also possible, unlikely but possible, that a monopoly can make a loss. We draw that by starting with our demand curve and marginal revenue curve like this, and this time drawing on the cost curves above the demand curve, like this. Then when we profit maximise, we produce where MC equals MR, which is quantity Q. To find the price, we continue that dotted line up to the demand curve, giving us P, and to find the cost, we continue it up further to the AC curve, giving us C, and therefore the firm makes a loss of this area here. These are the diagrams both for the short run and the long run. Because there are high barriers to entry, new firms can't join, so the monopoly can sustain their supernormal profit or continue making a loss into the long run.